A very good evening to one and all who have joined here. My name is Yadu Krishna Menon, and welcome to ManTech 2021 by Spasmodic. Now, let me tell you a bit about ManTech. So, ManTech is aiming to be India's largest virtual student entrepreneurship summit, and this has been going on for a few weeks so far. We have had so many amazing people who have joined us here, who have given their valuable time, have shared their experiences, and have interacted with students. And today we have one such personality who will be with us for the next an hour or maybe even less than that. But I am so excited to have her here with us. So please let me welcome Miss Aditi Banerjee, who is the co-founder and CEO of Magic Billion. Now, she is an icon of leadership, of innovation, and of inspiration because, as far as I know, her words and her actions have inspired countless other people. And as we can see, being the CEO of a corporation as big as Magic Billion just goes on to prove how well accomplished she is in her field. Ma'am, a very good evening and thank you for joining us.
I'm very glad to be here, and thank you for saying those kind words.
It is the truth, ma'am. No matter what, that is absolutely the truth. And you're coming live from London, right? So I've got to know from my team you're coming live from London. So what is the time there? I'm really excited about the time difference between India and London. So what is the time there right now, ma'am?
It's 11:30 in the morning, and it's a very
11:30.
bright and sunny day here, which is not common.
11:30 in the morning is not a time I'm familiar with. I wake up by 12. So thank you for joining us. I won't say early in the morning, but still thank you for taking your time and being with us today. So before we start with the question and answers, we would really love if you could speak from your end about the agenda, about the topic for today, and about your experiences so far.
Okay, so would you prefer that I give a little background of who I am and what I do, and then get into the topic, which is talent management in the era of technology, or how, or should I just dive in?
Absolutely, ma'am. No, you can give a brief introduction about your history, about your journey so far, so that we get an idea
Yeah.
about all that you've been through.
Yeah, I think that might make more sense because then what I say about technology should fit within my experience. Okay, so
Absolutely.
well, pleasure to be here, and I mean, I'm often, I love interacting with the Indian youth. I don't consider myself part of the Indian youth anymore because I think I left my youth behind in my 20s. But it's a real pleasure to be here. So just in terms of my background, so I'm of course born and raised in India. I'm an army kid, so I moved around all over India, changed 12 schools growing up. Then I studied economics at Lady Shriram, and from there I moved to the US right away for my master's at the age of 21. And after my master's, I just hopped across the road and joined the World Bank, which is also in Washington, D.C. And I was with the World Bank for 6 years, working on climate change, urbanization, very interesting topics, really in the region of the Middle East and North Africa. So I did that for 6 years. And at one point, I felt like I was really plateauing in terms of my learning curve. The World Bank is a brilliant place to be, but you also get very comfortable very soon. So I was looking for a change. And from ops, I moved completely 180 degree to the Boston Consulting Group, where I was a strategy consultant. I also moved back to India after 8 years at that point. And I was with BCG for 3 years, working on skills, education, building the social impact practice for BCG in India. Post that, I moved out of India again and moved to London. And then I was working with the royal family here and with Prince Charles and his team at the British Asian Trust and looking at social impact investments in South Asia. So how to think about impact bonds and some very interesting things which are out there in the market today for impact investing. And while that was happening, of course, the product idea of Magic Billion came about, which is really about helping Indian candidates and Indian professionals find high quality, credible jobs globally. So we help both Indian candidates as well as global employers who are struggling to find people. We help with upskilling where required so that they are the right match when they reach their global destinations. And we also help with their visa and immigration and all of that. So it becomes a 360-degree loop for talent management. So this topic works very well for me because, of course, I'm in the space of talent management, and we've been doing this for 3 years. We've sent about 1,800 people to 10 destinations so far. We are sector agnostic, so we work across manufacturing, construction, IT, hospitality, health. India has a lot to offer in terms of skill sets. So we are very happy to be in this very luxurious position. So that's what my company does. Now, in terms of the topic at hand, look, when I read this topic, talent management in the era of technology, we are in the era of technology. This is
Absolutely,
the era,
ma'am.
right? 10 years ago, would we be having this live session on YouTube? No, right? So we are there. And I think the biggest thing that I would say about the era of technology is that none of the other skills or sectors and demand for talent in those sectors has gone down. So, we, like I was saying, we work across manufacturing, construction, hospitality, healthcare. The demand for those skills are very much there in the rest of the world. And we don't work in the Gulf. We work in Europe, in US, Canada, Australia,
Okay.
kinds of countries. So there's a lot of requirement for this kind of talent, irrespective of whether you have a tech background or not. So the biggest thing that I would say to the youth and to your students who are listening in is, if you don't carry a tech background, don't think you don't have a big future ahead of you. There is a lot of requirement for your skill sets as well. As long as there's a right match, you find the right employer. um, this skill sets across the board will always be there. What might change is, because of automation, there will be different types of roles which will become more important. But if you come with no tech background, you are still going to be very comfortable, at least in your lifetimes. I don't know about the next lifetime, the future generations, but you guys are quite well set. So that's one. The other thing that I just wanted to say was that, typically, because you're still starting out and your careers are yet to begin, typically in your lifetime, you'll probably change about 7 to 8 jobs.
Yep.
And what you should really take away is how to build the skill of learning. So in every job, how do you learn and how do you apply? So irrespective of what your backgrounds are academically, if you can pick up the skill of learning and of applying, you've covered 80% of your career growth and going forward in life. So, really, really look at that in a big way. And that's something that, having changed sectors and industries thrice in my life, that's definitely something that I would recommend to everyone who's listening. The third thing that I will say, and I only have 4 things to say, so I'm at 3 out of 4, is, a lot of people, and you'll notice this across Tesla, Google, all of these companies, nobody is asking for a bachelor's or a master's anymore,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
They're basically saying, you come in, we don't care about your degrees. You just come in for our interviews, and if you clear, you're in. Because really what people are focusing on is analytical brains and the ability to be flexible, agile, and those kinds of things. And even at Magic Billion, I know that later part of this year, we are also going to take away any educational requirements. We are only going to be evaluating on skills. So don't worry about your degrees and studying more and all of that. And I know in India, we have this thing, bachelor's kiya, master's karo, CAT karo, MBA karo. Don't get stuck in that. Genuinely, I mean, I don't know how many of you will really take to heart what I'm saying, but don't get stuck in that. Focus on the skills you're building. um, a BTech today you will find in an investment bank in London. What did he learn in his BTech that he's using in investment banking? Nobody knows. But the only reason he was taken into investment banking is because there is an assumption that obviously if he's gone to an IIT, he's probably the top percent of India. So he's intelligent or she's intelligent. So that's the only reason that filter is used. But he's obviously not using any of the skills learned at IIT in investment banking. So don't focus on the degrees, focus on the work. So if you are going to get if you get an opportunity to, let's say, get a paid apprenticeship where you can actually work on things, take it, is my suggestion. And the last thing is, just because I'm saying that, all other skills are also equally important in the era of technology, doesn't mean you don't invest the time to understand technology. You must still
Okay.
understand technology. You don't have to become a coder. No, you don't have to get into that. But understand the different inventions and the advancements that technology is today showing us. Because only when you understand it can you think about how tech can help you in your life, in your companies, etc. So, a very small example at Magic Billion, we are roughly growing at about X to 2X every year for the last 3 years.
Okay.
But now we are in a situation where we are potentially getting an order from Russia, which is for 1,000 people a quarter, which will
Okay.
change our playing field from X to 100X. Now, the
Mhm.
only way for me to go from an X to 2X plan and change that into an X to 100X plan is through technology. There's no other way to do this because I can't hire 10,000 people in India in Magic Billion and manage things. I need
Yes, ma'am.
technology. If I don't understand tech, I don't have to build it myself, but I have to understand what it can do for me. So invest time to understand technology and invest time in seeing how it can benefit you. And one thing I can assure you, if you are thinking of something which can enable your life, somebody somewhere in the world is already building that tech for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't have to build it, but think it. So those are
Yes.
my 4 things. I'll pause.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And taking a few key points from your 4 points that I've gotten so far. First thing that comes to my mind is saying that I personally believe in that it is during your bachelor's that you find your true passion, which you'll be focusing on in the later part of your life. Now, I personally experienced that. That is why I believe in it because I am a BTech mechanical engineering student. But when it comes to technology or the technical knowledge or the technical aspect of mechanical engineering, I'm not the best. I'm not even in the top 100 in my particular batch. Even though I have a particularly good CGPA, that's all thanks to by hearting that, the night before the exam, all that stuff that students does. So to the professors who are watching this, sorry that I'm admitting this, but my knowledge when it comes to technical aspects is not the best. And it's something that I've learned to, accept that, okay, this might not be for me. But thanks to that mistake, I've later on got to realize that my true passion lies in journalism, lies in using my language, my voice to help all those others who are voiceless, all those others who are right now facing issues or facing trials, and
Yeah.
helping their issues be in the forefront, be in the
Yeah.
front of media. So
Yeah.
what I've realized is that despite taking a bachelor's in engineering, in future I'll be pursuing journalism. And a lot many other students that I know have realized that this is not what they want to do. Their bachelor's might be an impulsive decision, but they have got an idea that my skill set lies here. And somewhat somewhere where you said that you have changed your industry 3 times, that you have changed your field, I somehow connected to that. And I think a lot of students who are watching this will also connect to that fact that
Mm.
despite taking a decision, it is all right. You can find your passion later on, and that you
Yeah.
can build a career out of it.
Absolutely. And don't be scared to make that move when that happens.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, a lot of people in India will tell you, oh, but you've invested so much time in this. How can you do this?
Absolutely.
But it's okay. It's your life. You have to be happy. You have to wake up happy every morning to say, oh, today is going to be a great day.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
for that, you've got to follow what you want to do.
And it's scary, especially in an environment, in a society where people look up to me. And whenever I go for consultancies to ask, in the future I want to do this, I want to go for masters in journalism, or I want to change my field to journalism, most of them look at me and they're like, are you crazy? You just spent 4 years for a degree, and you've worked really hard on it, and right now you're telling me that you want to take a 360-degree turn and go somewhere else. Even consultancies, professional consultants look at me like that. So it is scary, but it takes a certain amount of courage to stick through with the decision that you have taken and to go forward with it. And to all the students who are watching this, trust me, I'm just like you. I'm also a student, but I'm taking a decision. I hope that you guys can take it too. Yes, ma'am. And a single
I think Krishna is stuck.
Yes, ma'am. I think my net got a bit disconnected in
Yeah.
between. Is it fine now? Is it fine?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I was talking about automation that you talked about in your first point, and regarding how automation is taking over the industry right now. So I wanted a bit more knowledge about that because a lot of students have this fear that since machines are being automated right now, the manual labor is being decreased. Even in industries, we have machines doing our job. Will there be a decrease in job opportunities in the future for those who are focusing on manual labor? Will machines take over our earlier jobs? How will that affect our situation? Because as an engineer, mechanical engineer, I've heard my teachers also talk about automation, how it's being used in industry. So what is your view on that?
Yeah. So, look, I mean, the biggest impact of automation will be in the blue collar roles, right? And none of you guys are in the blue collar sector.
Yes.
So, the biggest automation impacted sectors will be in manufacturing and in construction, where I think, of course, all this sector, which is probably going to be in the gray and white space, you're all well managed for. We currently have some BTech in mechanical who are studying German with us to then go off to Germany in September this
Yes.
year, who are interested in the auto sector, automobile sector. And they are asking the same questions, right? Because obviously, if electric cars are taking over and all of this is happening, then what is the scope that they have? The answer is in the next 20 years, really not much will change in terms of the demand. Um,
Okay.
you are still going to be quite comfortable in finding roles. People take time to change habits. There will, even if there are some cutting edge companies which are coming up, which are going to be looking at this, the Teslas of the world will always be there. But that doesn't mean that the 99% of the population of the world, which is still going to be using more non automated kind of machines to do their stuff. Because automation comes only in the top tier companies and then it spreads down. So, I mean, I think this is more a this is more something which is just being talked about a lot, but this is not something which will impact any of you guys in the next 20 to 30 years for sure.
All right, no, that is a great news because with all the post-apocalyptic movies that we have seen with robots taking over, people have that fear that we lose our jobs to robot. But at least for this generation, I think we are in the safe zone for now.
Yeah, definitely. And if anything, use the robots to help you at home for all your cleaning and all of that stuff.
Yes, ma'am. And let's talk about the elephant in the room or elephant in the world right now. That is a pandemic. So, what I want to know from a professional standpoint is how has pandemic affected the global employment scenario, or what
Mhm.
has been the impact of the pandemic on global employment?
Yeah, we have not seen an impact. So,
All
to be
right.
very honest, in April of last year, we did our scenario planning because we realized, okay, if you're in a talent management company and that too an international talent management company and borders are shut, obviously there's going to be a dip in business for us. But that wasn't the case. As a matter of fact, we got 10 new contracts last year. So,
Nice.
I think the thing with international movement is employers don't expect people to move next month. They always expect a little bit of time lag between when they select a person, then their visa immigration, etc., by which time the vaccines and the outlook now is picking up.
Yes.
So typically the roles where we are seeing an uptick are healthcare, of course, for teachers, for
Okay.
high end STEM roles. So, folks in IT, engineering, all the science technology roles, roles in, I would say, roles in management, roles surprisingly also in hospitality. Because now, as countries are opening up post Easter, there's going to be a lot of people who've been cooped up in their homes who will all start going out again. So, a lot
Yes.
of economies are realizing that their own people are not going to be able to manage the demand coming in. So, they're looking to hire. So, all these people from India who are going to Germany are all hospitality grads, 75 of
Okay.
them. So,
Okay.
yeah, so pandemic has not had as much of an impact. though unemployment rates in different countries have gone up, but they have been for roles where international mobility doesn't help. They have been for roles where only domestic support is required. For roles where international mobility happens, there has not been an impact.
All right. Now that is a different outlook. I think most people have had the image in their mind that whether it be international or domestic, the pandemic, the impact it has had was massive. But hearing from a professional right now, I think we can all have a breath of relief that despite the pandemic, we all have opportunities out there. Okay, ma'am. Going on to the next question. So, how far can we relate that technology as an influence in the modern day talent management?
Technology as an influence.
Yeah, what the question means is that what amount can we relate to the fact that technology has an influence on the modern day talent?
Okay. Okay, Krishna, I think has gone again, but I can respond to the query. Yeah, it's fine. I got that.
Yes, ma'am.
So
You
look,
got that.
talent management is across three things. So the first thing is in getting the right talent. Second is in upskilling and training that talent. And the third is when the talent actually is embedded into the new organization where it's working, to have the post employment or during employment support which is provided. So I would cut it in three bits, and technology is relevant in all three.
Okay.
So first is in terms of the right matching of that. So one is, like I said, I think there are plenty of tech roles out there that people are looking for globally. So people with tech backgrounds, of course, are very welcome to apply. There are enough and more employers looking for you. But in terms of the right match of what an employer is looking for and a skill set in India, also technology as a platform is becoming quite important. So to give you a sense, at the moment, we for every role that we advertise, there are 500 applications which come in from
Okay.
India for every role, right? And we have about 250 people going every year through Magic Billion. So you can imagine the quantum of applications which are managed, and this can't be managed by hand. So you need technology which will manage the sourcing and the pipelining for us. That's the first. The second is the upskilling. What COVID has really done is pushed up edtech in a very big way, right? So today,
Okay.
having in contact training is not required. You can sit in Tamil Nadu and have a explore a training happening in Noida, with all
Yes.
the right self assessments in place to ensure you're actually doing well in the training. So we are incorporating tech as well in our platforms to ensure that the upskilling is happening in a quality assured manner. So
Okay.
talent management and learning management systems can use tech in a big way. And the third is, of course, the post or while employment usage of technology. And that is something that I think is also picking up. So a lot of employers are now using technology to, even understand how their employees are feeling. So there is AI tech today out there, which just you're talking into a screen. There's nobody on the other side, but just basis your facial expressions, they are being able to track: are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? How are you feeling? So
Yes.
you are not saying I'm angry, but just from your how you are coming across, it's very clear to the software behind that percentage of employees in the company are happy or they are dissatisfied and all of that. So there's a lot of tech which is coming in today for employee management and really tracking how employees are feeling.
All right, ma'am. And the first point that you talked about, where you said for a single role you have nearly 500 applicants. So one thing that I'm confused about is, are these applicants coming via an online platform? Are they coming, let's just say, via LinkedIn or maybe a form that you spread out? Is technology playing a key role there? Is that being used?
Yes, so it comes in through multiple sources to us. Once we have a requirement from a global client, we have an outreach. We don't have an app yet, which is under
Okay.
development, but we have our website. We advertise on LinkedIn. There are multiple portals where we put it up. There are multiple partners who we have in India who also distribute it forward. So it comes through us through a number of channels. We also are government recognized, so we also have government channels through which it goes out to multiple catchments of people. So yeah, so tech can, we are looking at creating a sort of a CRM system where all of it can come in grouped through the sourcing catchment. So from a data analysis perspective, it will become easier for us.
Absolutely, ma'am. Going on to the next question is, what can we do in India to, improve the quality of people there to provide high skill global employment, or what can we do to, scale up so that we can provide high grade global employment?
Yeah. So look, I mean, I think there is a stereotype in India, which is that it's very difficult to get a global job. It's not,
Yes, ma'am.
right? It's not. You just have to find the right organization, I think, which can support with that. And the other misnomer, I think, is that most people think if you're in IT, then it's going to be an easier ride for you. There are enough and more sectors where there are global employers who are looking for you, but they don't know that you exist, and you don't know that they exist,
Yes.
right? Because most of the requirement is sitting in medium-sized companies in global countries, and those medium-sized companies have probably never hired Indians before, so they don't
Okay.
even know they need to come to India to look for talent, and you've probably never heard their names, right? But they're doing some very, very interesting stuff. So in terms of what, to your question, what can be done, I would say one is do this aspect that I was talking about, which is really hone your skills on actually doing work rather than building your qualifications, because that's not as relevant as doing things which can then be showcased to global employers to say, hey, they've done this in India, they'll be able to do that for you there. So one is that. Second is there are certain sectors we already know are struggling to find people. So whether it is in hospitality or management or healthcare or high end roles within manufacturing, construction, these are high skilled roles, so a lot of btechs would fit in those roles. So look globally, there are trends out there. You just have to see top 10 job roles in 2021 globally. There's a list which will come out for you. So see where you fit, see what makes sense, and then hone your skills for that, because this global demand is not going anywhere.
Yes,
Otherwise, companies like Magic Billion will be out of a job. So it's
yes,
not
ma'am.
going anywhere for the next few years at least.
Yes, ma'am. And talking about the stereotype, the Indian stereotype, I think there is a certain aspect of fear there as well, because with a lot of frauds going on in India regarding abroad employment, it's been there in the news for the past so many years. When
Yeah.
it comes to healthcare, when it comes to nurses, I've particularly seen that happen. Even as a person from Kerala, I've seen it happen so many times. So,
Yeah.
what is your take on that? How can people avoid such fraudulent scams and rely on proper organizations such as Magic Billion?
Yeah. No, this is a real issue. And that's one of the reasons why we set up the company. Because one, in India, there is enough and more scam. But globally, also, there's a lot of this sitting because there are agent driven jobs where there are
Okay.
agents, sitting in those countries. So, how to avoid? One is, find out about the company before you pay anything. So definitely see their presence online, see what kinds of so one of the things we did, for example, is we got ourselves recognized by the government. We ensured that there are enough and more events that we organize so candidates can come and talk to us, can meet us. They're flesh and blood kind of interactions where you can see somebody. Just yesterday, we had a union minister come and address our candidates. So,
All right.
just to build the credibility, we go out and try to really showcase that, because we know about the scams in the sector. Every day it's in the newspapers. The second thing I would say is don't pay any lump sum money unless you have an offer letter, which is
Okay.
genuine, which you can check out online.
Okay.
So what we do is we take about 5 or 10,000 rupees to ensure that the person is actually showing up for the interview, because we've also gone through cases where people don't show up for interviews, which is very embarrassing with the client. But if you don't clear the interview, we give that money 100% back. So
Okay.
that's the first thing. Second is any costs of the program are taken only after you have the offer letter in hand. So if somebody is telling you आप इतने पैसे दो और फिर आपका हम job कराएंगे, no, don't do that. Don't trust this sector. Do your due diligence. Pay up only after you get the offer in hand. Or if you're paying, anything sub 10,000 rupees, ensure that in the invoice it clearly says this is 100% refundable if you don't get the offer letter. So, you apply your brain, just like, because if you want to go and live internationally, who's going to take care of you there? You
Yes,
have to
ma'am.
manage yourself. So, use that. So, and the third thing that I have done personally is I've kept my whole life an open book on social media. So, none of my accounts are protected because I want people to see that this is a genuine organization that we are running. So I've
Yes,
had a lot of candidates join Magic Billion who are saying, we went on your Insta profile and we did this. And we don't think somebody who is showcasing this life will actually run a scam entity.
okay.
So after a lot of discussion with my family, I decided, no, I have to keep an open profile because let people come and see what's happening in my life.
Yes, ma'am. And I think for all those who are watching this, I can take a key point from this is that not to, blindly believe any calls or messages or emails that you get, because a lot of these emails, they do come in, they might look legit, but you'll have to use your brains, you'll have to go through the terms and conditions
Yeah.
and at least confirm with the company or with an employee that's already in the company that is there something going on like this? Is
Yeah.
there something real like this? Because a lot of people, they just blindly believe
Yeah.
there'll be lines written per month, you'll get 2 lakh rupees as your salary or 3 lakh rupees as your salary, you just initially pay us 1 lakh 2 lakh and we'll take you
Yeah.
there. A lot of scams just happen because of the greed of money. So I would suggest all of who are watching this to kindly go through it all, take your time and think about it. Okay, is this real? Can we go through it? So I think that can be a very good step to avoid all the
Yeah.
scams that are happening.
Yeah. And sorry, just one last thing, because I know this is a real concern. We have all our team members listed on our website.
Okay.
So, I think the other thing is if somebody is calling you, take down their name, go to the website of the company and ensure they are there. They actually belong to that company. So we've got nobody, including our interns, who are not listed on our website. So we ensure that.
Absolutely. And I'm talking about the global scenario. Which sector or which area in the world is demanding more high grade employment from Indians? So where are Indians currently going? Where is the demand high right now?
So where Indians are going and where the demand is high are two different questions.
All
Where
right.
Indians are going are US and Canada.
Yes,
Simple.
absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
That's what you automatically think. And Canada is giving out PRs
Yeah.
every second day. So, yes, that's where they are going. But where does the demand lie? Europe. The demand lies in
Okay.
Europe. But people have not been able to crack it. And I think the other issue with Europe is there are a lot of local languages. So Indians who typically speak English and Hindi, they don't have those language skills. But I must say now that we've started working a lot in Germany, there are a lot of German speakers in India because now with languages picking up in India, so that's another thing I would definitely recommend to the people watching. Pick up a foreign language. It's a very, very critical skill today. I mean, if you can go all the way and learn Mandarin, definitely, I think that's where the future lies. But otherwise, French, German, definitely Spanish, pick up a foreign language because the demand sits in Europe.
Yes, when I talk about Europe, I think there's a conception going on generally is that it's a bit difficult to settle down in Europe. The immigration policies are, I don't want to say this, but a bit messed up. I've been following a bit of news, with Boris Johnson and the immigration policies that are going on. It's a bit confusing when we compare it with Canada or any other country out there. So, what is
Mm.
your take on it? Do you believe that it's tough to settle down in Europe? Do you believe that the immigration policy is tough for normal Indian citizens, or is it just a misconception that is going on?
So, firstly, UK is no longer part of Europe.
Oh, sorry,
So
UK.
that's different. But in Europe, I can understand where this stereotype comes from. But at the same time, I think these are the key issues why we set up our company, because the way we work is we work through the embassy of that country in India, and we typically know
Okay.
the ambassadors and we do all of that. So when our applicants go through the process. We've never had a visa rejection, other than one person whose visa got rejected earlier this year, but only because of COVID. And even for that person, we are reapplying in the summer. But otherwise, all the people we've sent so far, I can very happily say we've never had visa rejections to Europe and otherwise. So maybe it looks daunting when you're trying to manage it on your own, because of course, the countries are bringing in foreigners in, they are going to make it difficult. Of course, India also makes it very difficult for foreigners coming into India. But you require credible organizations by your side who can help you in that process. I think I would have done that if I were looking. I mean, when I was looking to go abroad, I would do that.
Absolutely. So once again, guys, an organization plays a very big role. Rather than taking on the entire burden or the entire show all by yourself, I would suggest, just like ma'am told, to go for a credible organization, much like Magic Billion, and just to search if they have a very high success rate with their visa, and just to see that all right, their employees and their applicants are happy, and go out there and just apply. And if God wills, we'll all be happy at the end of the day.
Great. Well, that
Yes,
was
ma'am.
a really, really good interaction. Do you have more questions, Krishna?
No, I would just ask for a mantra or a message from your end before we wrap it up for all the audience who are watching, and a few words for Spasmodic as well. The organization has given me this opportunity to interact with you. Just these two, and then we can wrap it up, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, mantra. I think everybody should have their own mantras. But my mantra is do what you want to do. It's as simple as that. I think I truly believe when I said that in the morning when you wake up, you should feel good about your day. And life is short, life is unpredictable. So every morning should be a new day, and every morning should be something you enjoy. And if you're not enjoying it, change it. And that change is sitting in your hands. So don't think that change is sitting outside of you. Change is sitting with you. Don't get bogged down with what people are saying, because कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे. वो लोगों का काम ही है कहना, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. You do what you want to do. So I have definitely followed that in my life. So that's one. And for Spasmodic, I think great platform. I think it's really great what you guys are doing, trying to get speakers in, get different perspectives. I don't know how many people this is reaching. It would be interesting to know that from you guys. But I hope that people are listening in. 45 minutes is a long time for somebody to be speaking and for somebody to be listening, especially with this generation, which is sitting there. But if people have continued to listen, then I hope that they've learned at least one thing new or one thing interesting. And great job. I hope you guys continue holding these kinds of sessions.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm pretty sure I, for myself, learned a lot of things today. And I'm pretty sure all those who are watching this, hopefully you reached up till here. Hopefully we didn't bore you guys. I'm hoping that you guys did learn something of utmost importance. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining in. I had an amazing time. The organization had an amazing time, and I hope you did too. And hopefully in the future, we can catch you once again on yet another live session.
Absolutely. You're a great host, Krishna. Keep up the energy.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
See
Thank you so
guys.
much for joining in. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you guys for joining in. My name is Aditi Banerjee. This is ManTech 2021 by the organization Spasmodic, and we'll hopefully catch you